Well, I have no idea when this vlog's going up, but welcome back to, I assume, the Mandalorian Season 2 Showcase Heavy-centric, whatever, vlog, weekly video vlog. So I figured this would be a good enough place to start off. I am still waiting to get a monitor, so still squeezing out the last uses of my iMac here, and I'm doing a proper preview of my Rosario Dawson Ahsoka Tano, and it's coming out really nicely. This is basically just a very crude little roof setup using like Thanksgiving tiles from like the Thanksgiving table that I usually use every year for that photo. And I've got a concept art piece from The Mandalorian, chapter 13, and I pretty much just kind of recolored it and added more yellow and red and desaturated it a bit. And yeah, and I'm hiding the Mandalorian himself and the other figure against the building, kind of directly behind the minifigure in the shot, because even if I left them in there, you wouldn't be able to really tell, but I would know if I actually had humanoid figures lingering in the background somewhere in my photo, and that would bother me. So, and I'm actually using Infinity War Loki here for the cape, because I kind of want to recreate that moment where she's up on the initial rooftop deflecting the bolts after first leaping from the Magistrate and her team, and it's coming along pretty well. I'm going to add my own little spin to it though, and include Force Ghost Anakin, who I have the body assembled for. I just have to go get the head from my Clone Wars display, and I think that will really spice this up, even if he wasn't physically present in the episode. Made a quick pit stop thanks to some local collector buddies. Got the Marvel Legends Vulture, which is pretty sick, because those of you guys who are not into the action figures, they released Vulture back when Homecoming came out, but you had to buy a bunch of other irrelevant figures you didn't want to get the wings, because it was a Build-A-Figure set, so you had to build the wings with that wave. But you wait a few years, and they do eventually, at least for the MCU characters, release whatever that Build-A-Figure wave was as just a new revamped version. So the patience game has really paid off for me with that over the years. So this version actually does have the wings and a revamped bodysuit, if I'm not mistaken, and like a new helmet. I mean, it definitely, just looking at it at face value, it looks better than the 2017 one. Been a couple days now already, and when I got back, I did set up the Bokeh Tan edit once again, and I say once again because early on in January of this year, 2021, I did this really cool edit where I basically just set up, I kind of have it in shambles over here now, but it's just kind of this little plate, right? And then I have these walls, which, fun fact, were left over from a flash photo I did way back in 2014 that I just happen to still have for whatever reason. And then a little railing piece, and essentially it makes for this. A really awesome, now second version of the Bokeh Tan preview I first did way back in January of this year. So essentially now with Axe Woves and Casca Reeves, I was able to update it and re-simulate that same setup and update those photos essentially. And even when I edited it in Photoshop, I kind of kept the coloration the same and all that stuff. So it turned out really awesome, and that is going to be added to kind of the final lead-up previews for the Mandalorian Season 2 Showcase. Now, because my iMac broke down and is pretty much unusable for backgrounds now, I did get a monitor. Some of you guys made a few good suggestions, but I did land on the Samsung Odyssey G5. It's pretty good. I would wager to say it's fairly average, but it's certainly not really like, I don't intend to use it for gaming necessarily right away or anything. It's really just for use when editing videos and for backgrounds, and I think it should be pretty great because it has the curved display. I've never had a curved display before, but I think it should help a lot with reflections from my photography lights, which has always been a challenge whenever I, we use that iMac back there for backgrounds and stuff, because the reflections are usually pretty overwhelming and can take up like 30% of the screen even when I tilt the lights away. But yeah, also Halloween was yesterday. Of course, today is the first day of November. I've still got the setup here, and it was a really long stretched photo that unfortunately no screen could accommodate, even if my monitor came in right in the nick of time for me to potentially use it. So I would have needed to get a printed background for Jabba's Palace, which is what I wanted originally. I wasn't prepared though, so this year I went with no background at all, and that's okay. I mean, I'm still really happy with how it turned out, and you can see I had all kinds of fun in here, from Zombie Cat being held down by Mjolnir to a couple of WandaVision knockoff minifigures that I put my own custom pieces onto, and some from Eclipse Graphics obviously. Got Frog Thor in there, Joker, the Pumpkins, Flash in the Mark 85 suit with a pizza. There I am in the black suit Superman costume. Got the Dark Ahsoka head in use from Bagel Studios, which is really cool to put on my new Mandalorian Season 2 Ahsoka. Baby Yoda obviously there doing some trick-or-treating with her and Bokeh Tan, and Luke in the Rogue One Vader suit. Even got Harley Quinn cosplaying as Sylvie, kind of. Batman and Cyborg from the Snyder Cut not really enjoying any of this, and Cyborg probably suggesting that they leave. Mando with his new Cold Blood custom helmet that I painted up in Moff Gideon cosplay, which I thought would be kind of fun. I've even got the Firestar Toys Mobius up there with Loki cosplaying as his brother Thor, obviously, and that's really fun with the temp pad and everything. I've got the knockoff Agatha Harkness over here too, which is really cool to display, with an official Lego head and hairpiece on there. Aquaman just drunk as hell, of course, and then to celebrate Spider-Man No Way Home coming up really soon here, I've got the usual 3 Phoenix custom Spider-Man printed minifigures here, with Doctor Strange flipping out and Venom behind him. Ghost Rider showing up, of course, with his Dodge Charger, as he does in my Halloween photo every year now. And yeah, that's pretty much the gist of this year's Halloween photo. Now, the first trailer for the Book of Boba Fett also did drop today, November 1st, pretty much 2 months out from the release, just like they did with The Mandalorian Season 2, and just also like they did with The Mandalorian Season 2, I think this first trailer is holding back on a lot. I talked about it kind of at the end of the reaction video that I posted here on MGF Extra, but I definitely noticed how much they reduced the scarring now on Temuera Morrison. Really curious if they're going to address that canonically, or kind of like Kylo Ren's scar in the sequel trilogy, just sort of move on. But I mean, it looks amazing, and if all the rumors that we've been hearing about the Book of Boba Fett are true, then yeah, they are definitely holding back on all of the special surprises, and I'm so excited for Temuera Morrison and Ming-Na Wen. That being said, obviously with the Halloween photo, I already have the throne and Boba, and now Lego's Fennec Shand, so I will be recreating the poster and kind of using that as a pseudo preview for my Mandalorian Season 2 Boba Fett teaser photo. That makes sense. So yeah, the timing of me finishing the Mandalorian Season 2 customs definitely worked out there, especially with Boba. I want to point out my current Marvel Legends wall that I'm kind of developing that is almost at capacity. Obviously, I have the Endgame re-release posters framed there and all the Endgame figures beneath it. And then I started putting the kind of post-Endgame figures around the poster with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and then it kind of goes hero, villain, left and right, and that also includes Far From Home. And then it kind of deviates a little bit here in the middle because I don't have a third figure for WandaVision, so Captain Carter has just kind of been a placeholder. I also don't have Sylvie up there yet, or Wenwu to kind of parallel Shang-Chi. Then my buddy Jake, who you've definitely seen in previous vlogs here while we've been local collecting, hooked me up with Sylvie, which is pretty awesome, an extra that he had on order, an amazing figure as well with an incredible likeness to the actress. And yeah, but then literally the next day, Halloween actually, on the way back home, and dropped in my local Walmart. Never had any luck at this store ever in all the years I've lived here. And then yeah, I found the entire wave. So literally every figure that I was missing, they had them and then some. So that was had to be the first time I've ever scored like that at this local small Walmart of mine here. And then yeah, so we got Doctor Strange Supreme now. Really cool to have a figure of him already. Would love to make a Lego custom of him, just time is short though. As always, we've got Zombie Hunter Spider-Man, which is awesome, and obviously these are in the animated style from the show. And then we've got you know, to continue off of that, Zombie Captain America. This is I guess kind of a contender for one of the best figures of the year. So creative and so well done, and the paint is just incredible. And speaking of paint, even though I wasn't intending to get this entire wave right away like this, and I did want to pace it out a little bit more, one of the benefits of finding them locally is that you can pick the paint job, and I was definitely able to do that with Zombie Captain America. And I've also got T'Challa Star-Lord here, looking awesome. And yeah, really cool and bittersweet figure though, for sure, as that was obviously Chadwick Boseman's final performance as T'Challa. But yeah, we've also got from his episode Heist Nebula with the blonde hair. So yeah, I mean, I am really excited to have basically already finished up that entire wave. I was not expecting to until like next year, to be honest with you. So that was definitely a welcome surprise, and I was more excited to get these figures over the Eternals figures for sure, because I am still not totally on board with Eternals yet. I'm really waiting to see the movie before I kind of would commit to buying figures, and I don't plan on making customs right now or anytime in the near future with all the other projects on the table. I don't know why I brought that up, but I guess because they're the only other big MCU lineup of figures that are out in stores right now, so I guess it's kind of relevant. But yeah.
72 hours later.
just bumped my armrest really hard. Hey, how's it going? For me, it kind of feels like starting up a whole new vlog, even though this was supposed to be the Mando Season 2 behind the scenes vlog, and instead it's going to be the vlog before that vlog. So what was I talking? Oh yeah, so I got some more figures, and then we're going to close out this vlog with the Eternals review, which I have now seen. And so, after finding that entire What If wave on Halloween and then getting the rest of the figures I didn't have from that wave all at once, which I really didn't want to do, guess what? Thankfully, actually some local collector buddies also found the entire Spider-Man No Way Home wave of figures, and so huge thanks to them. And because of them, I managed to get Miles Morales, first of all, who's not from Spider-Man No Way Home, but you can see this is the, of course, PS4 or PS5 version, whichever system you play the game on. I don't care, I use my PS4, and it's pretty wild. The head sculpt doesn't look anything like Miles Morales, but it's got the pretty sweet Venom blasts in there, which is pretty cool, man. So that's gonna look great next to the original Spider-Man PS4 advanced suit. Listen, trying to keep track of all these Spider-Man suit names is probably going to be the undoing of my existence. But we've also got the integrated suit, which was not what I realized this suit was actually called until very recently. And I wasn't actually going to pick up this suit, except I was like, you know what? That is the suit that I'll be making for my No Way Home showcase, so I better like actually have some reference, even though these action figures don't really help with reference very much, with the articulation joints really kind of throwing a wrench in the accuracy. But we've got Doctor Strange. Now this figure for me was the non-negotiable. Like, I had to get this one because this has the best Benedict Cumberbatch face scan likeness that Hasbro has ever produced, and I don't plan on getting a Hot Toys Doctor Strange or anything, so for me this is as good as it gets, and I had to get one. Thankfully it's a very common figure from the wave from what I understand, so I definitely recommend that one probably most of all. And then my nose is really itching, man. We've got J. Jonah Jameson, check it out. We got J.K. Simmons, 6-inch scale, a really great guy. Comes with a couple head sculpts to perfectly capture his personality, and he even has some alternative hands so you can get maximum anger out of this dude and his Daily Bugle streams. So yeah, really cool. J.K. Simmons figure, kind of weird. I just watched the series with him recently. What was it called? Counterpart. Yeah, so anyway, oh yeah, Eternals. So going in to watch the Eternals was a really interesting experience for me because
I am obviously a diehard MCU fan and have been since 2008, and it's shaped really a lot of my career on YouTube. And now I, for the first time, went into a MCU movie mostly blind. I did look into a little bit of their backstory just to have some foundation going in, but I am not familiar with the Eternals from the comics really at all. So this was really cool, and that kind of puts the burden on the movie to introduce all of these characters in a really cohesive way that's not necessarily easy to follow, but reasonable enough to follow. And unfortunately, Eternals bites off way more than it can chew and really throws a lot at you. And no spoilers, by the way, for the movie, but it's just kind of like you get started with the movie and then they're just like, all right, Eternals, deviants, this has been going on forever. You know, this is how it is. We've been here forever. We've been alive forever. Haven't been helping humanity much though. They can just kind of figure it out themselves. The first act becomes really rough because it's just, you're trying to keep up, you're trying to make sense of who each character is, understand their abilities, and just follow along. And there's a lot of exposition, which is fine, but when all of that exposition and lore dumping and you know, just wealth of new material is thrown at you, and then the characters themselves kind of lack substance because they all need their time to be introduced, you kind of wind up having these characters really come across as shallow at first. And I think that's a problem because it rushes to these emotional payoff moments very quickly at times, and you're supposed to care about some of these characters who have either barely exchanged meaningful dialogue, or in the case of Icarus, said really anything at all. He's so quiet in like the first half of the movie. It's just an awkward experience. A lot of the movie can feel awkward as you're really trying to care for these characters, but you're not really being thrown a ball here. And so it's hard because the costume design is stellar. I mean, I'm watching the film and I'm like, man, when they actually are suited up in their Eternal suits, I'm just like, it would be cool to paint some of those. I'm not going to. I don't plan on making the Eternals in Lego. There are way too many other meaningful characters I still have to make on my roster, but the cinematography is gorgeous, right? It has the usual Marvel CG issue where there is some bad compositing and, you know, Icarus just CG model flying around everywhere. It looks a little too smooth, kind of like Thor in Infinity War in Wakanda, for example. And, you know, the performances, I'm going to pull up the IMDb page. I don't know who all these actors' names are. They're really solid for the most part, and I especially found Sprite though to be very annoying, and really, as much as I appreciate what they were probably going for with their character and what the actress was trying to go for, oh my god, did she just kind of yoink you out of the movie every scene that she took precedence in. It was not ideal. But yeah, so Richard Madden as Icarus, great, just needed more material, I think. Gemma Chan, fantastic as Cersei. Angelina Jolie was amazing as Athena. And I also really thought that, you know, the whole rest of the cast was great, especially also, I was really surprised by Kumail Nanjiani. He had a much bigger part in the movie than I thought he would, and it was fun. He added a lot of fun and some great humor that the movie, I think, really needed. And also, what's his name? He's been in so many movies, but I've never caught his name. Barry Keoghan, who plays Druig. I really liked him. I thought that he actually added a real serious tone to the movie, which I appreciated because he just kind of is a straight shooter character, but he's not totally morally bankrupt in sort of pursuing what really in the movie amounts to a very fair perspective. And again, I don't want to spoil anything for you, but the story was surprisingly good amongst these characters. And I found in Eternals what I was not able to find out of Shang-Chi, right? there's just a more complex story here that really picks up about halfway through. The first act of Eternals is tough and not easy to get through because of everything I listed earlier, but I am looking forward to hopefully a really big new future for these characters, because the movie does some pretty big and crazy things that the MCU is going to have to acknowledge going forward, and especially obviously with the mid and post-credit scenes, which I obviously will not mention here, but those were definitely cool. Not necessarily my favorite credit scenes in the world, but they set up a lot for these characters, so that's going to be cool. Yeah, I think that's really it though for Eternals. I am certainly looking forward to maybe checking it out one more time during its 45-day theatrical run that it should have here, and maybe even picking up the Lego sets. Definitely probably going to pick up some of the figures now. So yeah, I'm a consumer. I will see you guys in the next vlog. I think this one has gone on long enough. Thank you for sticking around for the whole thing and for being so patient with me as always and listening to me talk about Eternals for whatever reason. So I will see you next time. Take care, stay safe out there, and because I'm working on the Mando showcase, I can say this is the way.